Hold one. Arm drag. Whoa! This is
Brett screwed Brett.
Who are you to doubt El Dandy? Because this guy's a serious professional.
Brett screwed Brett.
hold two. Arm bar.
Hey, get a nice shot of the brand new Mr. and Mrs. Hunter Hurst Helmsley.
I hate you. I hate you. I hate your hat. I hate your t-shirts. I hate your wristbands. I hate your shoes. I hate your music. I hate the C-Nation. I hate everything that you stand for.
Sodas rule.
Yeah, they do.
Hold three. The moss-covered three-handle family Gradunzo.
Live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., this is the RCWR Show with your host, Lee Sanders.
And what's up, everybody? How's it going? This is the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders, and you're listening to the Tuesday Night Wrestling Report edition of the RCWR Show, coming at you live right now on October 9th, 2012. Do hope everybody has had a great weekend. Hopefully it was very relaxing for you all, and you all were able to catch up on some pretty solid football this past Sunday. Hope the week's been going pretty good for you so far. We're already over that hump. Wednesday's almost near for some of us. We got a jam-packed show that we just are going to be all over the place tonight, all things wrestling. It has been one weird week for the sport of professional wrestling. Let me tell you, folks, I just don't even know where to begin. That's just how much stuff is just all over the place. I don't want to spend that much time talking about WWE Raw tonight, so we're going to switch the format up just a little bit tonight. I'm going to try to dedicate at least maybe almost 25, possibly 30 minutes talking about WWE Raw, and then I just want to dedicate the rest of the show to talking about what all has been happening, because there's just so much that's been happening since last we were on the air with you guys. And even at that, over the weekend, there was a lot of crazy stuff that was happening as well. You know how we do it over here on the RCWR Show, Tuesday Night Wrestling Report. As always, we have the chat room that is open right now, and I'm hearing from good old social media guru who's watching the chat room tonight, Zed. He sees that Philip, our good friend Philip, is in there. Mad shout out to you, Philip. I also see that I Love TNA Wrestling, as always, is popping up in there. Working hard on them studies, not really talking, just kicking back, listening to the show. We appreciate that. We have the Facebook. You know you can interact with us during the course of tonight's show. Hit us up on Facebook at Infinity One Productions. You can also hit us up on Twitter during the course of tonight's show live, as we are in progress, at Infinity One Prod. If we have a little bit of time, just a little bit of time, I will try to see if I can squeeze in a phone call or two from y'all, but there's just so much that we have to cover. Let's just go on ahead and let's just jump right into it, shall we? So, we saw a very disappointing Raw that aired last Monday night, and when the ratings had came out, we have some of those people that are out there that say, ratings don't matter. Why should they matter? Who cares about ratings? A lot of people care about the ratings because the ratings brings in that revenue. The ratings bring in that capital. The ratings bring in those pay-per-view buy rates. When those ratings are struggling, when the viewership is struggling, that means that all hands and eyes need to be on deck. Everybody needs to be on alert because the boss is probably going to be looking to have somebody's head on a platter for the reason why the ratings have been suffering. And folks, you knew it was just going to be a matter of time before Vince McMahon was going to get his hands on somebody as the Fall 2 guy for last week's disappointing 2.5 rating. Can you believe that? As long as I've been watching WWE Raw, as long as I've been paying attention to the ratings, I have never heard of a 2.5 rating, and it's so bad that when you go back and you look at the books, now we had originally reported that last week's Raw was the worst in 5 years. We have a correction to make. Very rare do we make a correction on here, but we definitely want to make sure we get the right information put out there. It's not the worst in 5 years. It's the worst in 15 years. That sentiment, that statement, that says a lot. So you knew somebody was going to be axed. And who would that person be? It would be head WWE writer Brian Gewirtz. That's right, the man that has been the head honcho writing Raw and SmackDown at the same time, week after week after week, for at least the past 10 years. Vince McMahon had finally relieved him of his duties. Now, unfortunately, Brian is still under contract to the WWE, as they realize that if they were to try to can him right now, there's a little clause that's in his contract. He would receive one big fat payout, and WWE, they are trying to avoid that as much as possible. So in the meantime, they have him on board as a consultant. That's really a nice way of saying we're just going to buy ourselves the time that we need until your contract expires. Then we're going to go on ahead and we will officially part ways with you. Smart move on WWE. You knew it was going to happen. And this just comes fresh off of several key talent in the WWE locker room. Major names from what we've been able to gather, names that we are still trying to verify and confirm. We don't want to speculate. We don't like speculating. That's not in our business. But from what we've been able to gather, several top WWE talent went personally to Vince McMahon and expressed to him how the writing has been very poor within recent weeks. One wrestler in particular called Vince out right in front of employees, peers, said to him that he needs to wake up, that he is no longer in touch with what the WWE Universe wants, that his hand is no longer on that pulse. He no longer knows how to really captivate the audience, and that he needs to surround himself with people that actually care about the product and will actually do a better job than what's been done thus far. And somehow or another, however many people it was that had spoke with Mr. McMahon, they broke that mold. They finally broke that psyche. As Vince McMahon, he listened to them, and one of the first moves that he did was axe Brian Gewirtz. On top of that, he also sent a very bold statement to all the other WWE writers, everybody from the very top, starting with himself, all the way down to the bottom, letting them know that things need to change, and they need to change in a hurry, or else he is going to be expecting resignations. So the stage could not be set any higher. And just look at what a difference a week makes, folks, because we had probably what was, in my mind, not necessarily the best WWE of 2012, but I will say out of a few for the calendar year of 2012, this episode that we saw this past Monday now, without a doubt, was in the top 5, I feel. I'm not going to give it that number 1, that number 2 spot. I may not even be so tempted to give it that number 3 spot, but it's definitely earned a respected top 5 nod, I feel. And you talk about making an impact. Let's give it up for Vince McMahon, folks. Vince McMahon, 67 years old. He's coming on to Monday Night Raw to deliver the WWE State of Address So many people were buzzing, so many people wondering just what exactly is Mr. McMahon going to talk about? Is he going to mention the poor rating? Just how real is it going to get in his State of the Union address? Well, we would see that the state of the WWE would be addressed briefly here, as Mr. McMahon, he would point out all the current things that we have been seeing within recent weeks. He would point out the Hornswoggles, the Brodus Clay, the Daniel Bryan running around with the goat face, the whole tag team of Daniel Bryan and Kane. He would talk about all these characters and talk about how he knows that the WWE Universe, they want good storytelling, but what they care most importantly about is wrestling. They want to see champions come out and have really great matches, defend their titles. He is just really starting to make that connection with the audience again. When you talk about the other side of disrespect, we see none other than the WWE Champion CM Punk come out to interrupt the WWE chairman, as Tony Montana would say, "Oh, what big balls you have." I mean, really, if anybody could have done this, it could have only had been CM Punk, and we just saw a whole new layer be unpeeled from the WWE champion, as we just saw CM Punk just heckle, bash Vince McMahon, saying to him that Vince McMahon, he has been riding his back. He's been crapping on him since day one that he's come into the WWE. We also see CM Punk say to the WWE chairman that he feels that since Vince McMahon isn't showing him the respect that he feels he rightfully deserves, that maybe he needs to pull a page out of what he did at last year's WWE Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and maybe this time around, rather than him take that WWE Championship hostage and run away from the company, maybe this time around he just leaves and doesn't come back, thus leaving Vince McMahon and the WWE with a serious dilemma on their hands, as CM Punk would also say to the WWE chairman that, hey, I am the reason why you are able to bring in all this money. I am the reason why you are a billionaire, real-life millionaire, or multimillionaire. He is the reason why Vince McMahon is able to ride his nice private corporate jet, that it's he and he alone that has been able to give Vince McMahon all the luxuries that he is able to have, and that basically he owes him some type of gratitude. He owes him that respect. Vince McMahon would counter back and say, no, it has nothing to do with you. It has to do with the WWE Universe. It is all because of the WWE Universe that we all are here right now. And Vince McMahon would really let CM Punk have it and say that in no shape or form is he anything like Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Stone Cold Steve Austin, which touched another nerve. And I just love how brilliantly CM Punk was able to just pick right up from Stone Cold Steve Austin. As if you were paying attention all during the weekend, we had heard about little tweets that were going back and forth between Stone Cold, CM Punk. We actually had heard about some video that was quickly yanked by WWE that had showed CM Punk, Stone Cold Steve Austin having a press conference in, I can't think of what city and state, but it was for the WWE 13 video game. There was a WWE 13 panel, and they were pretty much talking about how cool would it be if in real life they actually were able to cross paths, who could possibly win, as they were basically hyping up the fact that fans will now be able to live those dream matches and actually have a Stone Cold take on a CM Punk right before their eyes in a video game. And just ever since then, it just seems like Stone Cold, CM Punk, they've just been going back and forth with each other. We see that reference that Vince McMahon had made, and we just see CM Punk touch right up on it, saying, you know what, let's be for real. Stone Cold Steve Austin, the only reason why he really got popular was because he had beat up a clueless, senile millionaire. The only difference that's happening right now is that you're nothing more, Mr. McMahon, than a clueless, senile millionaire that's a senior citizen. I mean, we just really see CM Punk touch some very sensitive buttons that I'm sure made a lot of us say, man, if we were even afforded that luxury of being able to work with a Vince McMahon, we just could not muster up the strength to say that to his face. Just knowing that the guy is signing our checks, I would be trying to figure out all types of different ways to not say what CM Punk had said. Out of all the segments I've seen over the course of this calendar year, for sure, one of the best executed segments in a long time. And it just proves to show you that you always are able to hit pay dirt when you're able to get Vince McMahon, CM Punk in the ring at the same time. You know, this was, in my opinion, better than the last time McMahon and Punk had collided. In case you all might not remember, just think back last year when we had CM Punk. He had that face-to-face meeting with Mr. McMahon as he was supposed to sign a new WWE contract, and they kind of came off as if McMahon was trying to get a good feel off of CM Punk. You could kind of feel as if that there wasn't really anything scripted between the two of them in that particular segment. They were just trying to feel each other out. It just seems like this time around, these guys were just really at that level that they needed to be at, as eventually we see CM Punk just bitch slap the WWE chairman. And you're saying to yourself, oh, man, oh, no, he didn't. 67-year-old Vince McMahon is down. What could possibly happen right here next? Shockingly, we hear Vince McMahon say to the WWE champion that, you know what, I should fire you, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna if you don't have a match with me tonight. And just to hear Vince McMahon say, you might beat my ass, but I'm going to teach you a thing or two about respect before this night is over, that set the tone, and that happened all within the first hour. So what a really great way to really reel you in to that episode of Raw, as all throughout the night we saw some pretty solid matches. Also, we had got to continue to see Vince McMahon, and I love how good old Jim Ross was thrown into the mix. On top of him doing the commentating with JBL, Michael Cole, that's right, it was the return of the three-man trio Monday night. We also saw Jim Ross have great concern about this match that the chairman was going to be having against the WWE champion, and it got to the point where we actually saw something very rare in today's WWE, especially when you think about Jim Ross and Vince McMahon, something that is probably unheard of. We actually saw Vince McMahon, Jim Ross share a very sentimental moment as Jim Ross says to the chairman how he has great preservations about this match that he's going to be having against Punk and to rethink it. But the chairman, he's very adamant. He's saying, you know what, this match, I'm going to do it. Appreciate the concern, but I'm going to do it. And he tries to take something that's very serious and try to make light of it. But again, we see Jim Ross, he says to him, look, you said something to me last week after Raw went off the air and the appreciation night had continued for good old JR. And he mentioned to the chairman how Vince McMahon had called him a American icon and that he looked at him as a personal friend. And Jim Ross really digging down deep here and saying from one friend to another, really reconsider this match against CM Punk. Again, McMahon makes very light of this, tells JR to just go on ahead and call his match against CM Punk like he would a Stone Cold match, and he actually demanded for a little bit of a sample right then and there, and we just hear JR bust out those classic lines that we nowadays can only hear in a WWE game. I was loving this moment right here as McMahon, he's not really sweating CM Punk. He's just going to do what he needs to do. I love how there was that subtle touch of mentioning Jerry Lawler. I don't know if y'all had really picked that up and y'all really felt that, but I love how they were able to involve him in there. As Jim Ross had said, look, considering what had happened to Jerry Lawler when he crossed paths with CM Punk, are you sure you want to do this? I love that little subtle touch right there. As, yeah, who could forget what had happened with Jerry Lawler there? McMahon still adamant, still going to go on with the match. And, folks, let's not also forget how the show opened up with John Cena, who pretty much was getting the ball rolling for the night, as we see him rub elbows with Ryback within passing. You're saying to yourself when you see this, okay, we got Ryback now crossing paths with John Cena for just a couple of seconds. Then you take a look at what had happened with CM Punk, Vince McMahon. I honestly was looking at this, and I said to myself, you know what, I see it. It's on the wall. Ryback is going to come out. He's going to come to the aid of Mr. McMahon, and this is going to be a scenario where whether some of us like it or not, McMahon is going to be officially giving the seal of approval to Ryback. Get ready for it. And I actually had said that to Zed, who didn't believe me, but we were kicking back. We were interacting with some of you all on Twitter, and a lot of y'all that had hit us back, y'all go, no, you guys are crazy. Ryback's not going to come out. I was like, okay, just don't say anything. Just watch what happens. And we actually saw some pretty solid matches. Let's talk about some of those matches in a nutshell that we saw from Raw this past Monday night. We saw Ryback, who was in action against Primo and Epico in a handicap match. I know, right? We had just saw Ryback take on one of the tag team guys, what was it, on SmackDown? I believe he took on Epico. I'm not sure. But here we are, Monday night, and we see him taking both of these guys on. He looked pretty damn impressive as the support for Ryback, it just continues to grow. I love how he now has his own little catchphrase going on. I'm just really liking all that. Kind of took me a while to really start getting into this Ryback. I mean, I've always been a fan of Ryback. I just wasn't really too keen on the way that he was being elevated. And, you know, that's something else we should most certainly talk about is the way Ryback has really been pushed. You know, I can't help but think about Goldberg's run in the WWE, and if I were a betting man, I bet that Triple H, Vince McMahon, it probably ate them up in retrospect, how they dealt with Goldberg when they finally had him come into the WWE. And, you know, they just really dropped the ball with Goldberg. It would not surprise me if after Goldberg had left for a good minute, they were probably kicking themselves in the ass and saying, man, why didn't we go this route instead? Why didn't we do this? And I'm just really picking up that vibe right now. And you can, for certainty, pick it up when you just go a few months back, they've really been trying to do the best job as humanly possible to naturally elevate Ryback, not really, force him to be in some type of a situation where the fans, they aren't really feeling it. And they've really been trying to be very careful about this, and I have to just give them a lot of credit for that. And the timing of Ryback, it really, when you think about it, when you need some wrestlers to go to, you really need it right now because we really don't have that many guys as it is right now. Brock Lesnar gone, Triple H gone, Chris Jericho gone, Edge gone. We got so many guys that's gone right now that it's just freaking ridiculous. So this is, when you really think about it, it's a blessing in disguise to see what's happening with Ryback right now. And, we saw that match with Epico and Primo. We had also saw some Divas action as we had saw Eve take on a returning Caitlyn who, as Homie the Clown had pointed out, was wearing a cast on the outside of her boot. Yeah, we thought that was a little bit weird, too. We weren't really sure what to make of that. But it is what it is. We saw Eve. She kept going to that bad leg of Caitlyn's, just really being dirty about it. Eventually, we saw her pick up a victory. Really was not anything to celebrate over, as we saw Layla, who was at commentating, joining Cole, JBL, giving her insight into what all was happening in the ring. She would come post-match into the ring, help out Caitlyn, try to make sure that she was okay. We see Eve, who just did a ruthless assault on the poor girl, get into the ring and then try to act as if she actually cares what had happened with Caitlyn. And you're just really getting that impression that, this is just so full of it, Eve, you're so full of it. Stop pretending. Come on, you know you wanted to do that. And really nice continued development that's happening right here. This has to be one of those great moments where if you're a female and you like the Divas division, or if you're a guy and you have now found some type of a newfound interest into the Divas division, WWE has been doing a solid job within recent weeks of having there be some type of a storyline, consistent at that you can look forward to each time you tune into Raw and each time you tune in to SmackDown, as it bleeds over into the Blue brand. I'm just really loving that right now. It's very solid. We had also got to see next up in action the number one contenders for the tag team titles, as it was the semifinals for this. Remember, whoever becomes the new number one contenders, they'll get to take on the tag champions at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, as we had saw the team of Rey Mysterio and Sin Cara defeat Titus O'Neil and Darren Young, the primetime players, as I like to call them. We also had saw Wade Barrett take on Sheamus. Now, this match I was paying very close attention to, and me and Zed were both thinking the same thing, and it had met a little bit of heat from some fans that were interacting with us, and we both had said the same thing. Okay, why do you have Wade Barrett taking on Sheamus right now? This is a dumb move. This would be better on pay-per-view. You can get buy rates. This is a match that eventually we do need to see happen. You can make a really great feud out of it, but right now it makes no sense to see this. And I'm looking at this, I'm saying to myself, you know what, if WWE booking is smart right here, this will end in controversy. This will end in a way where both guys will still look very strong. Sure enough, that's exactly what we see, as we soon had saw Tensai get involved in the match, and it actually ended up being a no contest. The match was just thrown out, as we saw a numbers game just pile up on the World Heavyweight Champion, as we saw Tensai and Barrett just attacking Sheamus. Now, eventually, Sheamus, being that strong Irishman, that fighting champion that he is, we see him successfully able to fend them off. But we see Big Show, who was at commentating, just quietly watching the match, waiting for his moment to strike, trying to get a little bit of payback on Sheamus for what he did on SmackDown. As remember, Sheamus just kept poking at the Big Show. It's like being at the zoo there, and you just keep poking that animal with that stick. Eventually, you're going to get mauled to death. And this is exactly what happened when Big Show got in the ring. Sheamus looking for that bro kick. Big Show was able to grab that leg and just sent Sheamus flying out backwards, having him land funny on his leg. Notice when Sheamus had fell here that he grabbed the wrong leg. He was doing the bro kick with the other leg, but when he fell outside, it was the opposite leg that he was holding. You might want to DVR rewind that in case you missed it. You'll catch exactly what I'm talking. Be like, yeah, sure enough, you're right. We also had got to see Antonio Cesaro defeat Tyson Kidd. That was a very solid contest right there. We saw the team of Daniel Bryan and Kane defeat Dolph Ziggler and Alberto Del Rio. In another number one contenders match for the tag team titles, as it was another semifinals match, we saw the Rhodes Scholars defeat Santino and Zack Ryder. So we now know who is going to be in those finals, as it's going to be the Rhodes Scholars taking on the team of Sin Cara and Rey Mysterio. And, of course, we also got to talk about how Paul Heyman had tried to talk with, respectively now, the WWE Champion, and he tried to talk with Mr. McMahon. Now, with CM Punk, we saw Heyman say to the champion, look, you really got to think this over. You're going just a little bit too far here. You got to think about what could possibly happen here if you seriously injure the WWE chairman. There's going to be some serious ramifications. And we just see CM Punk, he really doesn't care. He wants to be able to do as much harm to the chairman as possible and basically take him just out of the equation just entirely. Heyman is kind of having this look on his face like he kind of likes that idea. We then see him go later on, talk to Mr. McMahon, try to apologize to him for CM Punk's actions, and tries to play the whole, hey, Vince, I knew your father. I knew him when I was only 14 years old, trying to play that card. Vince McMahon not buying it. He pretty much calls him bullcrap on that note. And the match, it is still going to happen. And, folks, that match, man, out of, I can't help but look at this match. This was a match. Now, some people, they'll sit up and say, oh, well, what about that Vince McMahon versus Bret Hart match? That doesn't count. That was nothing, really. I mean, let's be honest. We know what's been happening with Bret Hart. That really was not a match. So let's just get that out of the equation right now. That all that hype about, this is the first match that Vince McMahon has had in 2 years. Actually, no. For me personally, I've got to be for real here. The last good match that we had saw Vince McMahon in was the match that he had against Shawn Michaels. I believe it was at WrestleMania 22, as they had a no-holds-barred match. And then the other match, there was another match that came later. It was during when Vince McMahon was the ECW champion, and he had that feud going on with Bobby Lashley, and eventually it had ended with them going at it in a street fight at One Night Stand. Those two were the last actual and pretty damn good matches that Vince McMahon had. So for your new WWE fans that, liked what you saw with Vince McMahon working with CM Punk, I can't stress it enough. If you like what you saw there, you're new to McMahon the wrestler, go backtrack, pick those two matches out. You will have just a great time checking those out, especially that Shawn Michaels No Holds Barred. I mean, I never have seen Vince McMahon get a beat down like that in all my life. That was probably one of his best matches of all time, in my honest opinion. But this match that he had with CM Punk, I couldn't help but cringe. I don't know about you guys. I'm looking at this and I'm saying to myself, man, that could be my dad. That could be my grandpa. Man, you know, this guy, 67 years, almost 70 years old. Let's just give it to him. Almost 70 years old. And he's able to throw it down like that. As we saw kendo sticks get thrown into the mix, we had saw Vince McMahon draw first blood on himself. Somehow he actually ended up bleeding around the eye area. CM Punk, he soon busted open. Just a really great contest. You're saying to yourself, when is somebody going to come out and possibly stop this match? Because this is just so inhumane, what is happening to Mr. McMahon. We actually did not see anybody come out for a really good moment. It was just both of these two guys just really tearing down the house. And we see eventually CM Punk give the WWE chairman a low blow, and he's getting ready to deliver that GTS when all of a sudden you want to talk about a crowd. Sacramento, California was the fucking place to be, okay? Because that crowd was just awake. Probably the only time I could really recall the crowd not really being into it was the Divas match. That was one moment that really jumped out there to me, especially when Caitlyn had came out. And I felt so sorry for the poor little girl because she came out and she's kind of looking at the crowd and she's kind of throwing her fist up, kind of like, yeah, I'm back. Where's my ovation? And she, is kind of looking for it, and she really isn't getting it. So finally she just goes on ahead and she goes in the ring. I'm thinking to myself, no, hon, you really haven't done anything that significant to have the fans really miss you like that, or even be that significant that you're all that to be getting an ovation. So that was probably one of the main moments I can recall off the top of my head where the crowd really wasn't into a particular match. Also, the Brodus Clay R-Truth segment, and I was very glad that Mr. McMahon had interrupted that as he was on his way out to do the whole WWE State of Address before he got interrupted there. I really was not trying to see R-Truth, Brodus Clay dance. I thought that was a very pathetic segment. I used to think it was cute that we had R-Truth doing his whole thing with little Jimmy. I thought it was hilarious, but now it's just really getting old. And for me personally, I've always been a Ron Killings fan. I know what this guy is really capable of. Some of his best work, hands down, was in TNA, without a doubt. And it's just so sad because the closest that we've gotten to Ron Killings in TNA was that infamous run that he had as a crazy heel, and he was taking on John Cena there for a few months. It pains me to say that, but I'm tired of R-Truth. I just think he's really pathetic right now. He needs to just disappear already. I can't stand the guy, but really glad that was over with. But I'm just thinking about the whole crowd reaction, and when Ryback had came out at the end of the night to come to the aid of Mr. McMahon, who was about to get that GTS, the crowd just freaking erupted. It was an experience that just had me kind of go, is this the Attitude Era all over again? What am I watching here? What is this I'm witnessing? As I've never seen an ovation so loud before, as we saw Ryback come out, and he is just ready to get him some of CM Punk, and we see CM Punk just haul ass, and he just sits up, and I got to pause right here because we have to mention this, because we were one of the first wrestling websites to actually give you guys the 411 on CM Punk assaulting a fan. We had sent you all a video
via Twitter, and we showed you the link, and then we also put it up on our Facebook page. We were like, y'all got to check this out. Look at what happened here. And we see CM Punk assault a fan. Now, I just want you to hold that. Let's just go with how Raw ended, and I'm going to pick up immediately on that. We see the WWE chairman say to CM Punk, who is just in the mix of the Sacramento fans, say, you know what, Punk, you got 1 week, you got a choice to make. Either you're going to face Ryback or you're going to face John Cena. John Cena, he had also came out. He tried to grab CM Punk and get him in the ring to feed him the Ryback, but it didn't go as planned. So CM Punk, he has a lot to think about, and as soon as I saw this particular segment end and Raw just goes off, I'm saying to myself, you know, if I were booking this, and you know how I love to put on my thinking cap as a writer and a booker, I'm saying to myself, if I were to book this, the smart money would be to have it a triple threat match for the WWE Championship. And the reason why it should be a triple threat match is because in no shape and form is Ryback ready. Let's just be for real here. As much as I have been a Ryback fan, what is it, for those of you that's been listening to us long enough, what's the one thing that I always say about Ryback? Let's say it together at the count of three. 1, 2, 3. He's not ready. And unfortunately, once again, he's not ready. It's no knock to him. It's no disrespect to him. It's just in-ring ability-wise, he is not quite ready yet, and that's fine. This is how you counter that. You involve John Cena in the match. Now, we know John Cena, he's not exactly 100% just yet. He's still going to need at least an additional month, maybe a month and a half tops, to really be able to come back at a full 100%. And that's fine and dandy, but this is the smart way you do it. You have it be a triple threat match between these guys. You have CM Punk. He does his thing with Ryback. You throw John Cena in there. John Cena, he takes a few bumps. You have CM Punk do his thing with Ryback. Basically, the main focus can be put on Ryback and CM Punk as they're wrestling, but you can throw CM Punk in there. You can have him take a few bumps. Basically, you set it up in a way where CM Punk is somehow able to wiggle out a victory at Hell in a Cell. And let's just be for real, folks. And it's something that you can really go back on and you can recall. Now, for those of you that may not have been paying attention to every single time John Cena and CM Punk have had a match together, I want you to think for a second. Just think for a second. When was the last time you recall CM Punk getting a clean win over John Cena? I bet you if you think hard enough, you're probably going to say, gee, you know what, Lee? I actually can't recall. You know why? If I were a betting man, because it's never happened. There's been times that CM Punk has pinned John Cena, but it's come with controversy. I'm just talking about without controversy, without interference, just have CM Punk be able to get a clean victory. Unfortunately, it's never happened. So here's a case right here where I'm looking at Hell in a Cell, and I'm saying to myself, could John Cena actually do the right thing here and give a clean victory to CM Punk? Honestly, I don't see that happening. I'd be very shocked if it were to happen at the October 28th pay-per-view. In the meantime, I see CM Punk pinning Ryback. Now, if WWE really cares about the streak, then another way that I could see CM Punk retaining is if he does some type of a low blow or he does something to get himself disqualified. That's really the only way I can see this really coming about. So I hope y'all appreciate that right there. I just definitely think that's most likely what's going to happen with that. And remember, you heard it here first. So, I definitely had to show that love right there. Let's also talk about that whole CM Punk fan altercation here. Now, let's just, in case you might have missed it, we had saw CM Punk, and this was just fresh off of after Raw went off the air. I was just kicking back, and I'm just trying to get the TNA Bound for Glory Call That Match special ready for you guys, and I'll have an update on that when we come back from commercial break. But I was just kicking back. I'm doing my thing with that, and I was interacting with somebody on Twitter, and he said, dude, I just came across this, and this was like less than 3 minutes after Raw went off. He said, dude, check this out. CM Punk just hit a fan. I said, huh? Yeah, he hit a fan before Raw went off. I said, wait a minute, let me check this out. So I double-checked. I looked at it. I said, well, what the hell? Sure enough, he did hit a fan. Now, here's what happened. In case you all have not seen the videos, we actually have a link. We posted it on our Facebook page. It's on our wall. Go check it out at Infinity One Productions. We also posted an article about it with the videos on the website, same name. You'll be able to run into it, and you can see exactly what happens. Now, unfortunately, CM Punk had hit the wrong damn person. Okay, you can see it as clear as day, and it's highlighted and everything. You see a fan that reaches between the shoulders of another fan who happens to be in front of CM Punk, and he gives him like a slap to the back of the head, and we see CM Punk within those, it took at least 3, maybe 4 seconds. CM Punk, he just backhands the hell out of the guy in front of him, punches him in the face, knocks his shades off, whatever, and you're saying to yourself, oh my God, what the hell did we just see right here? Now, we've been paying attention to this story all day, and we've been getting pieces here and there, been able to try to gather up as much news as we can, and from what we were able to gather, this person who unfortunately was assaulted by CM Punk, he is talking to the local authorities. He is trying to see if he can file charges against CM Punk. It really brings a very interesting question into my mind right now, and it's something that I want you all to think about. And Zed had wanted me to answer Don's question, which was whether or not we're going to try to squeeze in a few phone calls. If we have enough show time, yes, we will definitely try to squeeze in some phone calls here. I don't want to have the show be on too long tonight, but we could definitely try to squeeze in some phone calls if we can, as I do want to hear from you all, and I do want to know what you all think of what had happened this past Monday night, or just in general. It's been a very busy week in wrestling, but, you know, it's one of those things where you see from a WWE champion and you just say to yourself, was CM Punk in the right to do what he did? And I don't want this to be a cliffhanger. I do want to take a commercial break, but I don't want this to be a cliffhanger. Let me say this. You know, we pay our hard-earned money to go see these wrestlers perform. It's an added bonus when these wrestlers actually leave the comfort of the ring and they go into the crowd and they're interacting. You know, I think that's cool. At the same time, however, to do the type of move that the fan had did to CM Punk, there's tapping a wrestler, there's touching, and then there's downright trying to hit somebody. You could play that clip back. This stupid fan, slapped the back of the head of CM Punk. Now, I don't know about you all, but most guys, including myself, are the type of guys that if we don't know you and you putting that much slap on the back of our head and we are just coming off of a very engaging, intense moment, an intense segment, as we saw between CM Punk, Vince McMahon, Ryback, John Cena. You're probably going to get caught up in the moment, and you're probably going to just fly off the handle. You know, should CM Punk have better discipline? Yes, I agree. After all, he is representing the company. Personally, he should have just broke character and said, next one of you MFers that touch me, I'm going to knock you the F out. That's really what he should have said. And he would have been within his right to knock out whoever it was that decided that they were going to touch him. At that point, security could have just hurried up, came on up there. And that's the other thing. There really should have been some security measures taken to make sure that something like that doesn't happen to one of their poster childs of the WWE. I mean, let's be for real right here. You know, ain't no telling what those fans are packing or what have you. So, you know, in this case, and I don't want to come off as if I'm defending CM Punk here, but I think we guys can agree that we probably would have done the same thing. Now, it should be noted that this isn't the first time that he's gotten in trouble with the WWE. It probably will not be the last. But he's the company's guy right now. He's their go-to guy. He is their damn workhorse. He is willing to pop up whenever, wherever, don't matter what show, don't matter what live event. When you are that type of a workhorse and you are able to just, what's that line that the Rocky Balboa's old coach used to say in the Rocky movies? You're gonna eat lightning, or whatever that line is. If y'all know Rocky, the series, y'all know exactly the line I'm talking about. As long as CM Punk can keep doing that, then there really is no problem, I don't feel, unless he does something that just goes way beyond something that he for certainty had no business doing. I just do not see any type of action being taken against him, and I just think it's a laugh, quite honestly, to hear about some people reporting, oh, CM Punk should be stripped of the WWE Championship because he assaulted a fan. Oh, get that crap out of here. That's not going to happen. Clearly, you look at the footage, miscommunication. I guarantee you, CM Punk, smart of a guy as he is, he's going to make sure that something like this doesn't ever happen again. That I can assure you. That's my 2 cents about that. This is what we're going to do right now. We're going to take a very brief commercial break, and then when we come right back, I mean, we haven't even really scratched the surface. I mean, we got to talk about Alberto Del Rio, who unfortunately had pissed off some parent at a WWE live event. We got to talk about Hulk Hogan. Yes, when we usually mention Hulk Hogan's name on the RCWR show, it's a bad thing. This one is actually pretty bad. You're going to like this in-depth look as we talk about Hulk Hogan. One night only will I be going this serious in-depth about Hulk Hogan. And we'll also go on ahead, and if we have the time, we'll definitely squeeze in your phone calls, get you all's reaction to what has been a wild week in wrestling so far. So hang tight. We're going to go on ahead, and we're going to take that commercial break. We'll be coming back in just 3 minutes or less, folks. You're listening to the RCWR Show, Tuesday Night Wrestling Report, 7 minutes away from midnight. We'll be coming right back, folks. Do hang tight.
Tired of those wrestling websites that give you redirects, spyware, weird pop-ups? How about those misleading headlines? Instead of hitting the keyboard in frustration, why not visit InfinityOneProductions.com? Infinity One is the source for wrestling-related news and so much more without all the hassle. Visit InfinityOneProductions.com. Your keyboard will thank you.
Hey guys, Lee Sanders here with the RCWR Show, and I'd like to take this time out to tell you about 1 or 2 quick apps that I think you should check out when you get a free moment. First app I'd like to recommend to you is an app from Stitcher. Now, Stitcher allows you to be able to play all our episodes of the RCWR Show and Impact Showdown on your portable devices, such as an Android phone, Kindle Fire, iPad, you name it, it'll be able to play it. So definitely highly recommend that you check that out. It's available for free in the App Store. Stitcher, newest smart way to play radio. Also, another cool app that I'd like to recommend to you all is a new app that came out not too long ago from Apple. That's right, Apple has recently come out with a free podcast app. Now, this app is really cool, folks, because after we are done doing our shows, all you have to do is just subscribe to our episodes. And you can do this by downloading this new free podcast app. All you have to do, visit the App Store on your iPhone or iPad and just search podcast. Once the app is downloaded, you can then type in the name of our shows, the RCWR Show and Impact Showdown, and you'll be able to subscribe. It's that easy. So you have two cool free apps that you can check out and take all our episodes with you on the go. So get to it already.
All right, and we're back. Hey, let me just get for real here for a second. You know, I try to present the way I do a review for what all you might have missed in the latest WWE, Impact, TNA, whatever. I try to do it in a way where I hope you find it engaging. I hope you find it intriguing. And this special shout-out goes to the dumbass that was in the chat room by the name of Evil Zebra, who sat up and said, "Oh, is this going to get any more interesting tonight? John Cena was on live with Kelly Ripa and Michael Strahan yesterday. It was a work, folks." Hey, dumbass. John Cena actually did have surgery on that arm. He had the pictures to prove it. They being WWE, actually had shown the footage of John Cena being operated on with the x-rays and the whole 9 yards. So don't try to come on to a radio show and its chat room and want to try to make a disturbance. We've been following the whole sport of professional wrestling a lot longer than you have been. We actually have been covering it, quite honestly, for a very long time, and we always make sure that our information is on point. Now, you're somebody that has never even fucking stepped foot in our chat room before, so why you even coming into the chat room and causing all that little bullshit? If you don't like the show, move on, dude. It's your opinion. You're entitled to it, but nobody is pointing a gun to your head and saying you got to listen to the show. This show is dedicated. You know, somebody always asks me, what's the RCWR show? What's the Impact Showdown really about? You know, this show is dedicated more towards the people who might have not been able to catch WWE Raw, Impact. We try to give them the 411. You'd be surprised how many people will sit up and they'll say, "Nah, I was not able to check it out because I either got school, I got work, I work a late night shift, I just don't have the time." You'd be surprised the type of answers that we hear. So first and foremost, we try to cater towards those that might not be able to see it. Now, if you're one of those type of people, you just want to have your voice be heard on the air, you want to give your opinion or whatever like that, then unfortunately, guess what? You're going to have to wait towards the end of the show. We usually try to dedicate the last 15, 20 minutes to calls. Sometimes, depending on the topics, we don't get to cover it, okay? But we try to make it be our best to have the show be engaging as possible. Your opinion, quite honestly, my friend, it don't mean jack shit because we're sitting up, we're doing our thing. We go to YouTube, we almost got 160 subscribers and all we've put up is like 96 videos. We have over 600,000 views on our YouTube channel. For the RCWR post show covering Dave Batista's MMA debut, we almost received 3,000 listens and downloads. Our RCWR Show weekend report, where we covered WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor, wrestling-related news, and entertainment news, had received almost the same number of 3,000 listens and downloads over the weekend. We just came off of a very white-hot weekend. Every month we receive over 10,000 listens, downloads on a consistent monthly basis. So excuse me when I sit up and say that your opinion, my friend, it really does not mean jack shit. Don't like what you don't hear? Move on. And based on your profile, how you look like you're close to 50 years old. You definitely should know better, my friend. Let's move right along now, and let's talk about the latest and what had happened in wrestling-related news. And I want to kick this off on a very high note, since I am still just freshly charged off of what I just said there. Let's talk about Hulk Hogan here. Unfortunately, this guy, he has made headlines in a bad way, as this guy had a sex tape that was floating around that he was trying very hard to keep a lid on, and unfortunately this sex tape had fallen into the wrong hands. And man, it's really unfortunate when you think about it, because here we have the Hulkster, who is trying to figure out how to take some type of legal action against this website. I can't even think of the name of it right now. It starts with a G. I'm not going to even really mention the full name, because I like to try to keep the show as friendly as possible, unless there's something I feel really passionate about, or I time to time happen to get a dickhead like I just did a few seconds ago. This was a case where this sex video had showed Hulk Hogan having sex with this really cute, hot brunette for like about 30 minutes. Now, originally, this footage, you were able to see all of it, but once Hulk Hogan got a whiff of it, he threatened this website, said he was going to file a lawsuit. Instead, cleverly, this website, they decided that they were only going to put up a minute of the porno that Hogan was in. Now, I actually saw two versions. I saw the minute version, and I actually saw the whole 30 minutes. And I must say, Hulk Hogan was putting a workout in that video, and what's really shocking is to know who the woman was that Hulk Hogan was having sex with, and this woman would be none other than Bubba the Love Sponge's wife. That's right. Now, apparently, this all had went down 6 years ago while Hulk Hogan was still married to Linda, and I guess this was a time right here where they felt a little bit of strain. They were sitting up, and they were just having their little differences, and Hulk Hogan, I guess he was venting out his frustration to Bubba, and Bubba, being the good friend that he is, decides that he's going to go on ahead and he's going to loan his wife to Hulk Hogan, because as that Dionne Warwick song goes, that's what friends are for. I'm sorry, but as long as I have been friends with my pretend sister and her boyfriend, and we all went to junior high together, high school together, college together, hell, we've even owned a house together at one point, I have never known them to be so kind enough to allow me to have sex. You know what I'm saying? With them. That is just fucking sick. That is disturbing. Quite honestly, I don't even know what's more disturbing. The fact that Hulk Hogan is doing this while he's still married, and I don't give a flying hoot if Linda just isn't giving it to you anymore, or if Linda is beating you, Linda is verbally bashing you, as this is what he all had said on the Howard Stern show earlier this morning, trying to make himself look like the victim. Very poor job at that, Hulkster. this is a case right here where you're sitting up, you're saying to yourself, Hulkster, what's going on, man? Can you sink any lower? Well, we see that we have Hulkster reveal that the person who did this footage of him, and it should be a no-brainer. Now, before you guys even go out there, no, it was not Aces and Nates that filmed Hulk Hogan doing this to Bubba's wife. No. The person who was in charge of filming all this was none other than Bubba the Love Sponge. That's right. It was Bubba the Love Sponge, and what you don't see is Bubba the Love Sponge popping up and saying to his wife, after Hulk Hogan has done the deed, he sits up and he says, you know, if we ever wanted to retire, we would be able to do it off of this tape. And Hulk Hogan, what was it that he said? He said, you know what, if I ever find out that it was Bubba that's behind all this, our friendship is over. Well, Hulkster, it looks like it was Bubba, so now you got to do what you need to do. And quite honestly, I don't feel sorry for the Hulkster. I mean, I just think that he's stupid for putting himself in that type of a position to begin with. And what's even more disturbing right now is that there is a website that's called sex.com. And they actually had some pretty serious balls on them, as they had said the following to Hulk Hogan. This is a email that they had sent to them. Some of you might have not came across it. Some of you all that have heard this, you'll probably get a second kick out of this, as this was a hilarious letter to the Hulkster. And let me just put on my glasses here, and I'm going to read this because this was just really freaking funny here. And it goes as follows. Give me a second here, folks. Let me load it up here. And it goes as follows. See, I have it ready to go, but the laptop is acting just a little bit slow tonight. Give me a second here, folks. And while I'm waiting for that, let me try to milk this Hulk Hogan thing a little bit more. I personally would not expect for Hulk Hogan to be able to resolve this as quickly as he would like to have it be resolved. I think this is going to be a dragged-out battle that could go on for a good number of months. This isn't going to be something that's going to be able to get swept under the rug, I feel. Let me read you that letter now. I got it ready to go. Dear Mr. Bola, allow me to introduce myself. My name is, let me just pause right there. That just sounds like a Jay-Z vibe right there. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Jigga. All right, let me stop with playing around with you guys. All right, dear Mr. Bola, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Martin Ellison, and I am the director of media for Sex.com, the biggest and best collection of pinned adult content online. As we have all read and seen, a sex tape was recorded and posted online without your permission. While this may be an embarrassing ordeal for you to go through right now, it doesn't need to be. That's why we'd be interested in speaking with you at your earliest convenience in regards to marketing this tape on our website. After viewing the clip posted, we don't feel you have anything need to be embarrassed about. You are bigger than Andre the Giant, where it matters, and we aren't just talking about fan base, brother. Check out Sex.com, play with our pin boards, and put together your own private collection of fine content. We are truly serious about working with you. This isn't some shameless press opportunity. We have an open checkbook. Please have your representatives get back to us as soon as possible. We'd be very interested in putting together a compensation package that would make your Rent-A-Center deal look like pocket change. Let's talk. We are true Hulkamaniacs. Best regards, Martin Ellison. And that is how it ends. Now, folks, tell me if this does not sound like somebody that is trying to stroke Hulk Hogan's ego, but at the same time is insulting him by talking about the whole Renter Center, pocket change. It seems like they're kind of coming off like insulting him at the same time. Now, I'm seeing this and I'm saying to myself, if Hulk Hogan has any fucking sense of integrity that's left in him, he's going to do the right thing here, and he's not going to accept this deal. Just turn them down, turn everybody else down, and just try. I want to see Hulk Hogan be a fucking man for once, like that Macho Man song goes. Be a man, Hogan. I want to see Hulk Hogan be a man for once and just admit that he fucked up his marriage. He did shady shit that he had no business doing. He did things that were inexcusable, things that just without a doubt he had no business doing. Just admit that he treated Linda wrong. That's the first thing. Accept responsibility. Then the second thing that I want to see him do, I want to see him do damage control. I want to see him go out there, and I want to see him try to make things right. Now, here's a very interesting question I want for you guys to think about as we're on our way to Impact Showdown Radio this Thursday night right after TNA Impact. This is what I want you guys to think about. Some of you may be ready to answer right now. That's fine. But do me a favor. Think about it over the next 36-plus hours, and then let me know what you think when we do Impact Showdown Radio. Here's the question for you. Do you think that Hulk Hogan, if he were to sign some type of a lucrative deal with a website to release this video, do you think that Dixie Carter should do the right thing and end her business relationship with Hulk Hogan? Do you think that should be the final nail in the coffin that should make Dixie Carter say, you know what, you're really going in an entirely different direction. I'm trying to go in a different direction with my company. Best luck to you, Hogan. Maybe we can do business somewhere down the road again, but for now, it is what it is. We're done. Just think about that. Some of you may be ready to answer that right now. Just marinate on it. We'll pick back up on Thursday. In the meantime, I want to share two more pieces of headlines that we had took the liberty of reporting earlier today that really had jumped out there. Weird, dysfunctional week in wrestling, as if CM Punk assaulting the fan wasn't bad enough. We had Alberto Del Rio over the weekend at a WWE live event take this woman's son, who's 8 years old, took his sign that he had made for World Heavyweight Champion Sheamus, tore it up in front of the kid. The kid started bawling out. We see the mom, who was some TV winner of some reality show, say to Del Rio, hey, you're making my little kid cry. You're a big bad bully. I thought you were supposed to be a wrestler. What the heck is going on here? And then we see Ricardo. He adds insult to injury. And this woman was just so fed up, so frustrated what all had happened that she sat up and she sent several tweets out to WWE superstars. She sent a very angry letter to the WWE basically saying how Del Rio acted like a bully. You know, it brings into question the whole don't be a bully, be a star campaign when we see stuff like this happening, especially with the WWE champion. Now we follow it up with Alberto Del Rio. In the case of Alberto Del Rio, and everybody that has been paying attention to wrestling knows this for a fact, when we have a scenario like this where a wrestler tears up a fan sign, they are usually a plant to get the crowd worked up. Here is a case right here where this person is not a plant. The kid is not a plant. You know, I think it's just fucking stupid. I got to be brutally honest. I think it's stupid. I think it's silly. This woman, what the hell was she expecting? You're going to a wrestling event. Stuff like that is going to happen all the time. And I mean, talk about how classy Sheamus was, who, if you haven't really picked up the vibe, this woman sounds like she's not quite right in the head. We see Sheamus, he's trying to do the right thing. He tells the mother, hey, look, if it is that, if it means that much to you, I'll send you and your kid a signed autograph, and hey, next time you're having to be in the area, or next time we happen to be in that area, I'll personally meet the kid, no problem at all. So we see Sheamus trying to do a little bit of damage control, trying to be a really cool baby face, top baby face at that. And this woman is just so livid. Take a chill pill. It's a wrestling event. That's what happens. I mean, quite honestly, I can remember being that kid's age, and I went to a wrestling event, and I can remember a $1 Million Man grabbing one of my signs, and he, ripped it up, and he laughed at me, and I didn't think anything bad of it. I actually said to myself, oh, hey, $1 Million Man tore up my sign. Cool. So, I mean, it is what it is, just crazy. One other thing that we got to mention here, and hopefully this sister, she gets some serious help, because she really, really, really needs all the help that she can get right now. WWE Hall of Famer Miss Sunny, a.k.a. Tammy Sitch, who was arrested for, get this, a 5th time in just 4 weeks. So you can almost say that she got arrested pretty much once a week there. I mean, this is ridiculous, folks. I just really have great concern for Sonny. We try to be that type of radio show that doesn't make fun of a wrestler whenever they're going through some personal problems like this. As obvious, there are signs that she is just not all right in the head, as she was arrested for violating a restraining order that had prevented her to be within a certain amount of distance from her ex-boyfriend. And they had just arrested her for this prior, so she's been arrested for this twice now. And for you guys that don't quite remember, it was just earlier back in September where she had got her first brush off of series with the law, as she had assaulted her boyfriend. Basically, she found out that he was cheating on her, and she just went all crazy, and they got her then, and they got her another time. I mean, it's just really sad, that combined with the demons that she's been taking on within recent years. She's been a hard person to really do business with in the wrestling community, whether it comes to doing a wrestling radio show or it comes to her appearing at a wrestling live event. Originally, a couple of months back, we were actually trying to get her on the show, but when I had found out all the stuff that was going on with her at the time, I just decided to back off of her a little bit, because I just didn't like what was happening. And I'm really, really concerned about Tammy. I hope Sonny really gets some help, because I do not want to read a headline the next day or a couple of weeks later that she was found dead in some hotel. I mean, just the path that she's going right now, I'm really concerned. So, for you guys that are Sunny fans, you remember her from back in the day, definitely send her some words of encouragement. And, hopefully WWE, they can try to reach out to her. She might reject it, but hopefully they can take light of what's been happening within recent weeks, and maybe they could get somebody to really try to go out of their way to reach out to her and get her the help that she really needs. Let's go on ahead right now. Let's open up the phone lines. We're a couple of minutes just past that 15-minute mark, but let's go on ahead. Let's open up the phone lines right now. Let's go to our good friend Dave in the Michigan area. Dave, you're live on the air, my friend.
How's it going?
Hey,
how's it going,
good, bro?
That's good. Yeah, a lot of really. When I caught the video from you guys about CM Punk, I went back on my DVR, and I could actually catch some of that on my DVR. And I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you guys record and rewatch them, but I mean, if you go back, and it was just, why was Punk even in that situation in the first place? That's, to me, that baffles me. And if you just watch the video, what you see CM Punk running the crowd, push I thought was a kid, but obviously he's just a short guy, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But he runs in there and he pushes the guy. And I don't know if you've seen the interview that Joey Styles posted on WWE.com, where he basically said that, hey, I heard all these guys, Punk said that basically all these guys was pushing down the stairs, and they started hitting him in the back and hitting him in the back of the head, he said.
Yeah, I heard about that, yeah.
Yeah, no, it was just like, okay, but I did see, when I first seen Punk run up there, he pushed the dude first.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, man, it seems like he almost, just looking at the footage, Punk instigated most of everything, it seems like.
Yeah, he really did when you think about it.
I mean, if you watch that one video, the guy he did hit, you could see his hand come down and look like hit him in the back of the head or something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have nothing to say about all that. I mean, he's been through telling the fan to go kill himself, throwing a guy's magazine in the trash. I mean, he's saying he's sick of the whole John Cena thing, being on top and all that.
Mm-hmm.
He wants something new, and he can't even handle the pressure, it seems like.
It's really uncharted territory right now. I mean, CM Punk has been making headlines within the past few months in a bad way. I mean, talking about the whole Chris Brown thing, like you said, telling that person go kill themselves. He's made fun of homosexuals. You know, there's just a lot of stuff that's just adding up, and it's an interesting question because it's like, okay, when is enough going to be enough for WWE to finally step in and say, you know what, maybe this championship kind of got to your head a little bit. Don't really think you deserve it right now, not the way you're acting.
And look what happened today. CM Punk's DVD drop. And some people are saying this is a big plant, you know? Mm-hmm. CM Punk's getting all this buzz for his DVD drops the next day. Which can you answer me this question, like, why would a heel be in a crowd when he was just getting booed like crazy? And that my TV was shaking, and I was just shocked. We're not ready for Ryback, but if they get more fans like that, they are. Honestly, the people, the kids who are really there, the newcomer fans, I guess you call them, they want Ryback and Punk. Us seasoned veteran fans, we're like, he can't do it, but I'm also at the point where it's like, you know what? It's looking like it's going to happen, whether we like it or not.
Yeah. And see, the only thing about if it were to happen, they have to do it in a way where it makes Ryback still look strong, but also they do it in a way where, like I suggested earlier, you just go on air, you have it be a triple threat match, and that way you don't expose too much of Ryback's weaknesses, because let's be honest, if they were to make it be Ryback and CM Punk in a one-on-one match, at Hell in a Cell, CM Punk, we know he would do the very best that he could to really sell that match, but there's only but so much Ryback would be able to do, unfortunately. Dave, as always, thanks for that call. I know Don from New York, he had wanted to chime in his thoughts real quick. Let's see if we can get him on the air. Don, you're live on the air, my friend.
Yo, what's up, BA?
Hey, what's up?
Not much. After that miserable Jets egg they laid last night on Monday Night Football, nice to get my mind away from that. So I always appreciate the wrestling podcast.
Well, that's good, man. Glad you appreciate it.
A couple
hits we got.
a couple of quick points here. TNA Dixie's taking a lot of heat tonight about this Hulk sex tape. This guy Hulk, when they first unveiled him in that press conference in New York City 2 years ago with the signing of him to TNA, how this was going to revolutionize wrestling, this was going to put the company Uber over. Okay, none of that's happened. Okay, Hulk was barely there for the first year, and now this. I think this company should cut ties with him immediately. Now, moving right along, that's my opinion. Okay, Ryback, last week, I posed a question to you 2 weeks ago. I said, well, how do you see this playing out? You said you think they'd put Ryback on the back burner, let him polish himself. We've never really heard him on the mic. You thought this might play out over the next year, but Usually WWE nowadays, if they've got something hot, they want to push it to the front burner right away. Yeah. That's usually the decision making with Vince. If it's hot, why wait to the pay-per-view? Let's push it right now. So I'm ready for it. I mean, I was a fan when he was Skip Sheffield. Now when he's reinvented himself as Ryback, I'm just loving it. Now, the big question is, when this guy picks up a mic, can he say anything else beyond "Feed Me More"? We don't know. Probably not, right?
Nah, probably not. I mean, and that's the unfortunate thing. I find myself going to YouTube to try to remember how he used to sound. Because the whole one-shot words, that's not doing it for me. I need to get a sense of his personality and
yeah. It's a bit one-dimensional, yeah.
Yeah, but, I mean, I appreciate WWE, like I said, I give them all the props in the world. I mean, like I said at the beginning of the show, you can kind of tell that they want to do this right. You just think about how they did Goldberg when they had him. We all can agree they messed up when they had Goldberg, and it seems like they're kind of rectifying themselves with Ryback, but you can only hope that, because, I mean, we just haven't seen enough from him in ring work-wise. He needs a little bit more polished off.
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
the bird's out of the cage now after Vince gave him this, put him up there.
Yeah, he's got that feel of a
bird's out of the cage now for sure. But real quick, I know you're up against the clock here. And again, great show. Enjoy the Saturday podcast too you guys put on. But Bound for Glory. Mm-hmm. Tara was just signed to a new extension with TNA. Do you see her taking the belt from this wannabe Miss Fartknocker, Tessmacher, whatever her name is? I'm not a fan of hers, I'll be honest. I appreciate her devotion and all she's a Hooters calendar, all that's all good and stuff. But Miss Tara is in a whole other league above her. You see Tara taking the belt back?
Oh man, let me just think about that for a second. And Don, thank you as always. We appreciate it. We appreciate you. We appreciate Dave. We appreciate everybody that calls into the show and interact with us in the chat room. That's a very interesting development. I'll tell you what, I'm going to end it on this cliffhanger. We had promised you all that had checked out the Saturday show that we were going to have a special upload on YouTube for our Call That Match special, where I offer my match predictions for the Bound for Glory pay-per-view. Now, I came across some audio software problems at my end. I was trying to figure out how to transfer the episode that I did to the computer, because I was using my iPod to actually do the show, because somebody had told me, hey, do this if you're on the go all the time. Just use this little app. You can record stuff and transfer it, clean it up later, do your thing when you're remixing. So I was trying to get a hang of remixing it, so I wasn't able to upload it Monday night. But it's complete. It's polished off. I'm going to upload it. So if you guys feeling a little late night owlish tonight, give me about an hour, and I'll actually upload that Bound for Glory Call That Match special on our YouTube channel at the RCWR Show. I offer all my match predictions right there. If you can't wait, or if you prefer, either way you win. I mean, you can check it out right now, or you just check it out Saturday, because we are going to be doing the Call That Match special of that same Bound for Glory Call That Match series. You'll be able to check that out this Saturday at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern, right here on blogtalkradio.com and at our sister website at infinityoneproductions.com. I think we had a very solid fucking show tonight. As always, I thank you guys humbly for checking out the show. Hey, we're going to do this again this Thursday night.